crash of shattering glass echoed through the upscale restaurant as Victor Blackwood's 6-year-old daughter Emma dropped her water glass, sending shards and liquid across the polished marble floor. The restaurant fell silent, all eyes turning to their table. Victor, a 38-year-old tech mogul worth billions, felt his face flush with embarrassment as Emma's eyes welled up with tears. "I'm sorry, Daddy," Emma whispered, her bottom lip trembling. Before Victor could respond, a waitress with curly auburn hair appeared at their table like a whirlwind of efficiency. Unlike the other staff who stood frozen watching the scene unfold, she knelt beside Emma with a warm smile. "Hey there, sweetheart. Accidents happen to everyone," she said, gently dabbing Emma's splashed dress with a napkin. "You know what? I dropped an entire tray of desserts on my first day here. The chef's face turned so red I thought he might explode." She mimicked an explosion with her hands, making Emma giggle through her tears. Victor watched, mesmerized. It had been 2 years since his wife Charlotte's death, and he couldn't remember the last time Emma had laughed so freely. The waitress, Olivia, according to her name tag, continued cleaning up, all while keeping Emma entertained with silly stories. "Are you a princess?" Emma asked suddenly, reaching out to touch Olivia's hair. Olivia's melodious laugh filled the air. "No, sweetie, just a waitress who's also a student, but you—" She gently tapped Emma's nose. "You look exactly like a princess to me." "My mommy was a princess," Emma said matter-of-factly. "But she lives in heaven now." Victor's heart constricted. Emma rarely spoke about Charlotte. He braced himself for the awkward silence that usually followed such moments. But Olivia didn't miss a beat. "Well, then, she must be the most beautiful angel up there, watching over you both," she said softly. Her eyes meeting Victor's briefly. There was no pity in her gaze, just genuine compassion that knocked the air from his lungs. For the remainder of their meal, Olivia paid special attention to their table. She brought Emma a dessert with "For the Brave Princess" written in chocolate sauce, refusing to let Victor pay for it. When Emma accidentally spilled her juice again, Olivia high-fived her and said, "Look at us, making messes together. We're mess buddies now." As they prepared to leave, Victor pulled out his wallet, intending to leave an exceptionally generous tip. But when he glanced at Emma, he saw her whispering something to Olivia, who was listening intently, nodding as if Emma was sharing the most important secret in the world. "Emma really likes you," Victor said awkwardly, when Olivia straightened up. "I haven't seen her this comfortable with someone in, well, a long time." Olivia's smile was sunlight breaking through clouds. "She's an amazing kid." "You're doing a great job, Mr. Blackwood." Victor blinked in surprise. Most people recognized him from business magazines or tech conferences. They saw the billionaire, the innovator, the widower, rarely the father. "Thank you," he said, the words catching in his throat. As they walked out, Emma tugged on his hand. "Daddy, can we come back tomorrow? Miss Olivia promised to show me how to fold napkins into swans." Victor glanced back to see Olivia attending another table, her laughter floating through the air like a forgotten melody. Something long dormant stirred in his chest. "Yes," he heard himself say, "we'll definitely come back." True to his word, Victor brought Emma back to Le Ciel the following evening. His executive assistant had raised an eyebrow when he'd rescheduled an important investor meeting, but Victor couldn't deny the excitement in Emma's eyes. It had been far too long since she'd had something to look forward to. When they arrived, Emma clutched a clumsily wrapped package in her small hands, scanning the restaurant eagerly. Her face fell when a different waitress approached their table. "Welcome." "Back, Mr. Blackwood," the woman said with practiced professionalism. "We're honored to have you dining with us again." "Actually," Victor cleared his throat, feeling oddly nervous. "We were hoping Olivia might be our server tonight." The waitress's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. "I'll check if she's available." Minutes later, Olivia appeared, tying her apron. As she hurried over, Her face brightened when she spotted Emma. "Princess Emma, you came back." She gave a theatrical curtsy that made Emma giggle. "I had a feeling I might see you today, so I practiced my swan napkins all morning." Emma thrust a small package forward. "I brought something for you." Olivia carefully unwrapped it to reveal a child's drawing of 3 figures: a tall man, a small girl, and a woman with wildly curly hair surrounded by what appeared to be birds, or perhaps napkin swans. "This is the most beautiful artwork I've ever received," Olivia said, genuinely touched. "Thank you, Emma. I'll hang it in my locker." Over the next 2 weeks, their visits became a routine. Victor learned that Olivia was 32, working her way through a master's degree in education, specializing in childhood trauma. She volunteered weekends at a center for children who had lost parents. "It helps them to talk to someone who understands," she explained one evening while Emma was in the restroom with Victor's assistant. "I lost my mom when I was 9. Cancer." "I'm sorry," Victor said, studying her face with new understanding. "That explains why you knew exactly what to say to Emma that first day," Olivia shrugged. Kids need honesty wrapped in kindness, not pity or awkward silences. Each visit revealed new layers to Olivia that fascinated Victor. She recited poetry while refilling their water glasses, knew everything about dinosaurs, Emma's current obsession, and always had a joke ready when the atmosphere grew too serious. On their 5th visit, the restaurant manager approached their table with a nervous expression. "Mr. Blackwood, may I speak with you privately?" In a corner, the manager wrung his hands. "Sir, while we deeply appreciate your patronage, I must address a concern. Some of our regular clientele have commented on your particular interest in one of our staff members." Victor's expression hardened. "Explain yourself." "No disrespect intended, sir, but a man of your position, these daily visits, always requesting the same waitress. People talk." "I see," Victor said icily. "And if I told you that Olivia is the first person who's made my daughter smile since her mother died? The only person who treats Emma like a normal child rather than a tragic figure or a billionaire's accessory?" The manager blanched. "Sir, I—" "Double everyone's tip tonight," Victor interrupted, "and find me your restaurant's investor information. I believe I'd like to become a significant stakeholder." When Victor returned to the table, Emma was teaching Olivia a clapping game. Their laughter created a bubble of joy around them that felt sacred somehow. Later that evening, as they were leaving, Victor hesitated at the door. "Olivia," he called back impulsively. "Emma has a school play this Friday. She's playing a dinosaur-obsessed scientist." He smiled at the coincidence. "Would you like to come?" The invitation hung in the air between them. For a moment, something vulnerable flashed across Olivia's face. "I'd love to," she finally answered, scribbling her number on a napkin. "Text me the details?" Walking to their car, Emma skipped ahead with Victor's assistant, chattering excitedly about her upcoming performance. Victor carefully placed Olivia's number in his wallet, right next to the faded photo of Charlotte he still carried. For the first time since his wife's passing, the weight of grief felt slightly lighter. What he didn't see was Olivia watching them from the restaurant window, her expression a complex mixture of happiness and worry as she pressed Emma's drawing against her heart. Friday arrived with the chaos typical of school event days. Victor had cleared his entire schedule, determined not to be the absent father checking emails during his daughter's moment of glory. Emma had been practicing her 4 lines for weeks, reciting them to anyone who would listen, including the bewildered delivery man who had brought her dinosaur costume. "Daddy, will Olivia really come?" Emma asked for the 10th time, fidgeting as Victor's housekeeper, Mrs. Peterson, adjusted her costume. "She promised, didn't she?" Victor replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Despite their text exchanges over the past few days, a part of him couldn't believe someone like Olivia, genuine, unpretentious, radiant, would willingly step into his complicated world. When they arrived at the elementary school auditorium, Victor scanned the crowd anxiously. No sign of Olivia. Emma's face fell slightly, but she bravely marched backstage when her teacher called. Just as the lights dimmed, Victor felt someone slip into the seat beside him. Olivia's familiar scent, something like vanilla and old books, washed over him. "Sorry I'm late," she whispered, slightly out of breath. "The bus broke down, and I had to run 3 blocks." Victor stared, momentarily speechless. She'd taken the bus? He had a fleet of luxury cars sitting idle. The thought that he could have sent one for her hadn't even occurred to him. "You made it. That's what matters," he finally said, inexplicably moved by her determination to be there. The play was delightfully chaotic in the way only elementary school productions can be. Emma delivered her lines flawlessly despite her T-Rex headpiece, tilting precariously. When she took her bow, Olivia cheered so loudly that several parents turned to look. "She was brilliant," Olivia gushed afterward, kneeling to hug Emma. "The next Jane Goodall, but for dinosaurs." "Actually, that would be a paleontologist," Emma corrected seriously, causing both adults to laugh. "We're celebrating with ice cream," Victor announced. "Would you join us, Olivia?" Before she could answer, a sharp voice cut through the moment. "Victor, there you are!" A tall, impeccably dressed woman with a diamond-encrusted watch approached, air-kissing both his cheeks. "I've been looking everywhere for you." "Francine," Victor replied stiffly. "I didn't know you were coming. Your mother insisted I check on Emma's big day since she couldn't fly in from Paris." Francine's gaze drifted to Olivia, taking in her simple dress and worn boots with a single sweep. And who might this be? Victor felt a flash of protective anger. "This is Olivia Richards, a special friend of ours. Olivia, this is Francine Desmond, my late wife's cousin." Francine's smile didn't reach her eyes. "How nice. Victor, darling, the board members are having drinks at the Metropolitan Club. You simply must make an appearance. They're discussing the Singapore merger." "I have plans with my daughter," Victor said firmly. "Don't be ridiculous. Mrs. Peterson can take Emma home." Francine lowered her voice to a stage whisper. "Your mother specifically asked me to ensure you're not neglecting your responsibilities. Charlotte would have wanted the company to remain strong." At the mention of her mother, Emma's expression clouded. Victor felt trapped in the familiar web of guilt and obligation that had defined his life since Charlotte's death. Olivia stepped back slightly. "Victor, you should go if it's important. Emma and I can have our ice cream another time." "No!" Emma cried, grabbing Olivia's hand. "You promised, Daddy!" The disappointment in Emma's eyes was devastating. Victor had broken too many promises already, always with reasonable excuses. The same excuses that had kept him away from home the night Charlotte had her accident. "Francine," he said with sudden clarity, "please tell the board I send my regrets. My financial officer has all the Singapore details. Tonight I'm having ice cream with my daughter and our friend." Francine's mouth tightened into a thin line. "Your mother will be very disappointed." "My mother has been disappointed in me since I learned to walk," Victor replied dryly. "She'll survive." As Francine stalked away, Olivia gave Victor a searching look. "Are you sure about this? I don't want to cause problems with your family." "I've never been more certain," Victor said, surprising himself with the truth of it. "Now, I believe I was promised expert advice on the best ice cream flavor combinations." Later, at Emma's favorite ice cream parlor, a tiny shop, nothing like the high-end establishments Victor usually frequented, he watched as Olivia challenged Emma to an ice cream eating contest. Both ended up with chocolate smudges on their noses, laughing until tears streamed down their faces. When Emma went to wash her hands, Victor found himself saying, "Thank you for coming today." It meant everything to her. Olivia's smile faltered slightly. "Victor, I need to tell you something. But Emma bounded back before she could finish, excitedly recounting how her teacher had said she was the best dinosaur scientist in school history. The moment passed. But as they walked, Olivia to her bus stop, Victor couldn't shake the feeling that something important had been left unsaid. The next 2 weeks were the happiest Victor had experienced since Charlotte's death. Olivia became a regular fixture in their lives, joining them for weekend outings to the zoo, movie nights at Victor's penthouse, and even a disastrous attempt at baking cookies that left his designer kitchen dusted in flour. Emma blossomed under Olivia's attention, her nightmares becoming less frequent, her laughter more abundant. Victor found himself falling for Olivia's genuine spirit, the way she noticed everything, from Emma's slightest mood change to the names of every security guard in his building. Unlike the women his mother kept introducing him to, Olivia challenged him, teased him, and never seemed impressed by his wealth or status. One evening, as they sat on his balcony watching the sunset, while Emma played inside with Mrs. Peterson, Victor finally gathered his courage. "Olivia," he began, "these past weeks have been—" His phone buzzed with his mother's ringtone. Victor silenced it without looking. "Aren't you going to answer that?" Olivia asked, surprised. "Nothing that can't wait," he replied, taking her hand. "Olivia, I need to tell you something. When Charlotte died, I thought that part of my life was over forever. I buried myself in work, tried to be everything for Emma, but something was always missing." Olivia's eyes glistened in the fading light. "Victor, please, let me finish," he said softly. "You've brought something back to our lives that I didn't realize we'd lost. Joy, spontaneity, laughter. Emma adores you. And I—" He took a deep breath. "I'm falling in love with you." Olivia withdrew her hand, her expression pained. "There's something I need to tell you. I've tried several times, but—" The balcony door slid open, and Mrs. Peterson appeared with an anxious expression. "Mr. Blackwood, your mother is on the house phone. She insists it's urgent." Victor sighed. "Tell her I'll call back." "Sir, she mentioned something about background checks and the school board." A cold knot formed in Victor's stomach. His mother had threatened to conduct background checks on every person in Emma's life after Charlotte died, but he'd forbidden it as an invasion of privacy. "I'll take it inside," he said, standing reluctantly. "Olivia, wait here, please." In his office, Victor's mother's voice crackled through the speakerphone with unmistakable triumph. "Darling, thank heavens I caught you. This waitress you've been parading around with Emma, did you know she lost her teaching license 3 years ago? There was an incident at her previous school." "Mother, stop!" Victor interrupted sharply. "I don't want to hear gossip or whatever." Your private investigator dug up. "This isn't gossip, Victor. It's public record. She was teaching at Brighton Academy when a student under her care had an accident on the playground. The parents sued the school, claiming negligence. Victor's—" World tilted sideways. Brighton Academy, the same private school where Emma was enrolled. His blood ran cold. "What was the student's name?" he asked, already dreading the answer. "Emma, of course. Your Emma. This Olivia person was your daughter's kindergarten teacher. When she fell and broke her arm the month before Charlotte's accident." Victor ended the call, his thoughts racing. He remembered that day clearly. The emergency room, Emma's tear-stained face, Charlotte's quiet fury. The school had settled the lawsuit quickly, and the teacher had been dismissed. They'd never met her. Charlotte had handled everything while Victor was on a business trip. When he returned to the balcony, Olivia stood with her back to him, shoulders tight. "You were Emma's teacher," he said quietly. "The one who was supervising when she got hurt." Olivia turned, her face streaked with tears. "Yes, I've been trying to tell you." "Why didn't you say something from the very beginning, that first day at the restaurant?" "I recognized you both immediately," she admitted. "But Emma didn't. Remember me? I was just a new teacher she'd had for less than a month. And then she started talking about her mother." Olivia wiped away a tear. "I never connected that her mother had died. I thought you were divorced." So what was this? Some kind of redemption project? Guilt? No. Olivia's eyes flashed. At first, I just wanted to be kind to a child who was hurting. Then I got to know Emma again. And you. It became real, Victor. Everything I feel for both of you is real. Victor struggled to process this revelation. The teaching degree you're finishing, I never stopped believing I could be a good teacher. What happened with Emma was an accident. I was watching 20 children alone because the assistant called in sick. Emma climbed higher on the monkey bars than she'd ever gone before. I was helping another child when she fell. Charlotte was devastated, Victor said, the memory sharp. She blamed herself for not being there. Olivia's voice broke. And I've carried that guilt every day. I cared about Emma even then, all my students. Losing my job was nothing compared to knowing I'd failed to keep her safe. They stood in silence, the city lights blinking on around them. Daddy? Emma's small voice came from the doorway. Why are you and Miss Olivia sad? Victor looked at his daughter, suddenly seeing her in a new light. Emma, do you remember having a teacher named Miss Richards before Mommy went to heaven? Emma tilted her head thoughtfully. The one who read dinosaur stories? She had curly hair like Miss Olivia. That was me, sweetheart, Olivia said gently, kneeling to Emma's height. I was your teacher a long time ago. Emma's eyes widened, with wonder rather than fear or anger. That's why you know so much about dinosaurs, and why you knew my mommy was a princess. The simple acceptance in Emma's voice pierced Victor's heart. Children forgave so easily, saw truth so clearly. I think I need some time, Victor said finally. This is a lot to process. Olivia nodded, gathering her purse. I understand. For what it's worth, Victor, meeting you both again felt like a second chance I never thought I'd get. She kissed Emma's forehead. Be good, Princess Emma. As she walked toward the elevator, Emma tugged at Victor's hand. Daddy, remember? When you said sometimes accidents happen to everyone, even princesses. Victor's throat tightened as he recalled comforting Emma after Charlotte's death. Yes, sweetheart. And remember when I dropped the glass at the restaurant, and Miss Olivia didn't get mad? She made it better instead of sad. With perfect 6-year-old logic, Emma delivered the truth Victor had been missing. Olivia hadn't hidden her past out of malice, but fear. Fear of losing this second chance. Fear of hurting them again. Olivia, wait, Victor called, rushing after her with Emma in tow. In the elevator foyer, Olivia turned, hope cautiously dawning on her tear-stained face. Charlotte used to say that life was too short for grudges, Victor said softly. She would have forgiven you long ago. I think it's time I did too. Does this mean Miss Olivia can still come for pancake Saturday? Emma asked hopefully. Olivia laughed through her tears. I wouldn't miss it for the world if your dad says it's okay. Victor reached out, taking both their hands in his. I think we've all been given a second chance, and this time, we'll catch each other if we fall. 3 months later, when Victor proposed on the same balcony where truth had almost torn them apart, the sunset painted the sky in colors of new beginnings. And when Olivia walked down the aisle the following spring, Emma proudly preceded her, scattering flower petals and dinosaur confetti with equal enthusiasm. Sometimes the most unexpected truths lead to the most beautiful second chances.